Welcome, beautiful people. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good to see you. To see you is nice. I want to try see if that imagery can improve. Maybe we'll drop the light a tiny bit behind me. I'm looking a bit dark. Leave a little bit of light there so I don't look so browned out. How you guys all doing? How you all doing? Where are you checking in from? Let us know. I don't want to really cut out the trees, but the lighting is just too poor. Streaming with you. Big message to all stackers. Congratulations, stackers in the house. Stackers of silver, stackers of gold. Hopefully you can all hear me nice and loud and clear. Stackers of platinum. Congratulations, you're winning. You're winning right now. But there's a but. There's a key message that you should be aware of, and that points out to how you could in fact be winning even more. And that message, my friends, is this. There have been beautiful upside HVF setups all the way up, all the way along, and we have been maximizing on them. And we are currently leveraged long on platinum. You see, when you're stacking, it's great. The move's going to make you the money. But if you could slightly turbocharge the rate at which you're stacking, that you could accumulate even further ounces, even better, with judicious use of moderate leverage in a trading account with real method and a community, you could accelerate those gold, silver ounces that you're putting away. And the bulk of your wealth should be in the blue layer of the pyramid at the bottom, 3 layers. Capstone in red, orange, mid layer, and the largest should be your blue. Non-advisory, just my take, how I manage my stuff. You should be stacking and stacking and stacking in the blue. When you make money in your occasional unique moments, we had a unique moment on the daily with gold. Let's show you some charts, by the way. Good to see your comments. I love to see it. Joining from Idaho. Where have you been? We've been traveling and jet lagged. I wanted to have my coconut here. We're in Panama, sipping a coconut here at my table. I'll do it for you the next stream. I love coconut juice. Glad to do it. Good to see you. To see you nice. Thank you, Just Maui, who's just tipping us for popping in and helping share the gold and silver and platinum boom. I'm here to tell you, they're going to try shake you out. They're going to try get you to buy oil stocks. They're going to try get you to get Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and its relative position to gold as part of the stream. Yes, you will see it. You will see it all with us. Let's change glasses from reading ones to far-seeing ones. We will be talking about a couple of miners on a tear and why silver is going to be probably one of the best and biggest rippers. We're going to be talking about all of that. Hit the likes. Thanks for joining us. 311 at the time, 58 likes. We appreciate those 58 people, that tiny bit more, for helping fool the algorithm to get more people to hear our message. Here's what we're here to do. We are here. This is our raison d'etre. That's a fancy French way of saying our reason for existence. Our entire reason of existence, you're talking about me personally, my team, and everybody else, is to recognize that there is a full-blown Western world at minimum, but probably worldwide depression coming, and the Western world that continues to pursue fake financial proxies such as Fiat and debt debasement. Oh, autofocus is playing games. I've gone all fuzzy. All of that, those nations are going to collapse, and this is the single biggest economic event you're likely to encounter. And it is deeply, deeply disturbing, and it is going to bring great degrees of unsettlement and financial destruction, and your cost of living is going to go up, your wages are going to lag, and a lot of other things are going to happen that is going to see governments go into tax scavenge mode. Governments will go into tax scavenge mode, which means they will be doing cutting all the services they typically provide to you, and they will then also be looking for additional money out of you, such as unrealized capital gains. Lowell's Finkelstein, also known as Larry Fink of BlackRock, will be showing up and telling you he wants to tokenize so that all your assets and everything you own can be on the digital clipboard that he controls and registered on the blockchain, so that when he creates proxy new money, he can buy all your assets and know exactly that which you own. These are incredible times that we are living in. We're here to navigate you through these times. It is something I am messianic about. It's something I've been predicting for decades. this move in gold and silver has been something that pre-2008 I was already big on. We were trading gold when it first broke the 1,000 level to the upside, the run up there in a macro upside HVF hunt volatility funnel setup. And I've been in this space for a very, very long time as a technical trader. And we're here to tell you big things are happening. You're at the fast part on the bankruptcy. The Ernest Hemingway line, slowly at first and then suddenly very quickly. That diagram I've shown you a couple of times where you're going slowly, slowly down, and then the "you are here now" bit. That smiley face that I've shown where you are capitulating. You are there. It's happening. Gold does that when the dollar and the fiats do this. The debt-based collapse, we told you in 2020, the tail end, that there is a major reversal on debt markets. It's going to be the most significant call of our life. That's from the guy who's twice told you, go long gold, go short oil, and called for the oil to trade single digits in 2019. And he's telling you the same thing. We're going to look at the gold versus oil. People are in disbelief. They're going to try and have you becoming oil merchants. There is one theme to this collapse. It is fiat and debt debasement. And the thing that replaces the debt, which was sold to you as a reserve asset, is gold. And it's been the reserve asset for millennia. And we're waking up from a 40-year nightmare. A 40-year nightmare where all truth was banished, fake, phony Ponzi-onomics was installed, and they maintained, they manipulated, they financially engineered, they leveraged everything they could, from selling you cars with finance to everything else. The financialization era of everything has ended with the turning of the debt fiat market, which we called in 2020, before even the greatest minds of financial economics such as Druckenmiller, Tudor Jones did. And we're here to tell you that everybody's in disbelief about the scale of this, except very few number of people like us. And you can make and fix all forms of holes in your balance sheets by executing on one thing brilliantly. And that execution is getting and sticking to the mega macro precious metals bull market run that's going to melt faces and make crypto look like little Pippi on Sunday afternoons. Okay, you are here right now. Your job is to stay here right now and to stay long after every monkey influencer and talking head has told you it's definitely a top, and you would be a fool to still be long gold, silver, and everything else. They will shame you. They will call you pet rock enthusiasts. They will do everything. They'll say, how can you still be in there? And it will go higher. I'm here to tell you that the majority of your profits will be made. 80-20 rule in the last 20% of this move, and you're not anywhere near to the last 20% of this move. You're not anywhere near. Hear me now. That's my job. That is what I'm here for. That is what I see as my job. If you maximize doing one thing incredibly well, nothing else will matter. You will win, and you will win big. Forget the rule of generalists. You could have made mistakes in every trading market, every time, and been a loser every time in everything you've tried. Execute properly with a moderate trading account and investment account. Tax down from your red hot leverage when we get unique opportunities into your lukewarm holding leverage positions that are barely 2x, that with deep stops and long runs and the huge targets to make that will keep ticking up in your favor. And tax down from your orange into your blue hardcore silver ounces, gold ounces, and platinum ounces. And you will laugh, 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 and generations after you of your spawn will be better cared for financially than almost 95% of the rest of the population. You need to hear this speech. You need to understand it. And to you who are already stackers, who are already part the way there, you could be doing so much more. These are some of the opportunities that we have taken to increase, which included the daily setup. And let's go to the charts and show you a little bit of what's been going on. By the way, platinum. We need to get platinum on here. This beautiful 3 impulse falling wedge. This is on very low time frames. Let's minimize this. Are we seeing this? Just make sure that we are in fact sharing screen and it is working. We sometimes a bit gaga when we do that. Share screen, Francis. There we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Share screen. There's the tunnel that tells me you're in the tunnel of love. You're in the tunnel of love. We're talking precious metals with the market sniper. Hit the like button. So this is incredibly low time frame because we have been working in additional entries into platinum. There's your falling wedge with 3 impulses. Look where yours truly has been buying. Oh, dearie me. It seems he does what he says he's doing. Buying, 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 buying. Why is he buying on a falling wedge so aggressively? Because he has an upside target and he is inside an HVF for higher highs for platinum. Let's go out instead of 5-minute charts. My goodness, 5 minutes. That's not a macro view, is it? Let's have a sip and let's go from the small side back up and out. There we go. So why 5 minutes? Let's go up to 15 minutes. Let's get big time frame. 15 minutes. What's been happening on the 15-minute time frame? Well, as you start to move out, you will realize that we were expecting a bit of a pullback and we have a nice little funnel draw. Let's go draw. Let's go draw. Let's go draw and see what we have. Let's see what we have. Ooh, look at that rejection hammer. Where's my community? Oh, I've got to post that to the community guys to point out that everything we said that this 3 impulse would give you a limit entry. Let's wait a minute. Did Francie really say that to his community? So many influencers are frauds or fakers and say things. Let's see what he said and how long ago he said it. Here we go. Platinum M5. Here it is. Let's read it out aloud. Platinum M5, just for pullback, understanding a small third sell-off can be on the way. It is very low risk for a type 3 or 2 falling wedge, less likely because we're in play of a HVF. Let's have a look at the chart. There it was. That was the chart when he said it, and he is saying buy here, which is kind of exactly what he did. Isn't it nice to see somebody who makes a suggestion and actually follows his own suggestions? Maybe, it's kind of refreshing. We're sort of funny that way. We don't affiliate anybody we aren't prepared to use ourselves and that we're not actively using and feel good about using. And if we say we think something's worthwhile doing, it's because we're doing it ourselves. It's called alignment and it's simple. You never get caught out for lies when you do what you say you're doing. That was the 5-minute falling. How's it turned out? Well, you saw the 5 minute. You saw the 5 minute. There's the entries that we've been putting on, and there's the stops. You'll soon see where the target is too. This is how trading platinum, you get more silver, platinum, and gold ounces. This is how you do it. And we'll be showing you. And sometimes it won't work. Sometimes it'll be wrong. We go back up to that hourly, and we see over here now, if you're looking on the hourly time frame, you see very beautifully a massive rejection hammer. Isn't that funny? So self-affirming the 5-minute falling wedge as we go back out now, because we're doing it arse about face. We're starting on the tick time frame and going back up to the macro. You are heading on a hammer bouncing back up. How? We're just lucky, you might think. Buying on the wick, on the 1 hour time frame, I've got 6 or 7 entries, all buying the wick. How did he do that, you think? He's just lucky, you say. Well, why is it working out, you might ask? Why is it working out? Because you are in one of the biggest precious metal bulls, and we are fundamentally bullishly biased, technically speaking, and continue to be and will be for an extended period long after many people have called time. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the setup. Let's have a look at the setup. What is going on here? Let's do this. Let's minimize the lines, see all the stops, the entries, and what you'll probably notice that these guys will trade. They really, really trade. They do what they say on the tin. There's a big upside. Let's go bigger Koki. We like fat Koki. Go fat Koki. The people want to see. The people want to see. We go fat Koki into the high. There is your low. There is your secondary high. Hold on. That's that thing he's always going on about. Beautiful low volatility, by the way. Beautiful. Look at the bodies only. That's your low volatility. That's your final low in there, but the body's low volatility. And you will learn to find this key identifier. technical analysis identifier in funneling. That's right, funneling. H, hunt, volatility, funnel, funneling, squeeze. You regularly get two candles that occur very closely, often one after the other, and occasionally with a little in-between candle that's a spinning top that sometimes occur, what we refer to, and we have to give it a name because there is nobody who's done this theory. We are writing that theory here. Yours truly, 40 years of looking at candlestick charts, you get to leverage that knowledge. That's what you get. It's also what you pay for, and you get a massive return on that investment for paying for it. What is it you got? You got what looks like a shooting star followed by a hammer. But you see, shooting stars happen at localized highs and hammers at localized lows. They look like them, but they aren't them. They are walking in a tunnel and testing the ceiling and the floor. They are getting squeezed. They are getting squeezed. Where's the high end? Where's the low end? They are defining the range in a low volatility period, and they are called kettle drumsticks. They look like two drumsticks laid down on the drum, two kettle drums, and they look like, for want of a better word, a shooting star, although they clearly are not by context, and a hammer. Bang, there they are. Inside that squeezy, body so tight. That is the final clue that you are in the funneling point, and your key levels are defined for taking leverage longs. Leverage longs on the green line, stops on the red line. Bang, that is called, my friends, an erectile projectile. That's right. And it is a triggering event. Triggering event. And do things go up in straight lines? No, they give you a falling wedge on a 5-minute time frame with 3 impulses for you to whale in some more. You also get targets. There they go. Geometrically produced by the setter. So how many of you out there, YouTube, freebies, friends, were trading this on that basis with those entries and with those levels and with those stops and with those targets? Very, very few. Now come into the community and ask, and quite a few. You see, that's the profits you're leaving on the table that the market gave you. The market gave you. Yesterday, we spoke about gold. Let's bring it to gold. Some of you will say, platinum, I can't trade platinum. You'll say, I missed nothing. There's nothing I could do. Well, we give you brokers where you can trade platinum, but let's show you something else. What happened yesterday? What happened yesterday was the following. Let's go and show you yesterday. So yesterday we said, by the way, there's some real upside HVF action taking place, and we think you are going to get a melt-up move to higher highs. That's right. And we said you could trade the pound against the gold, XAU GBP. That's right, XAU GBP. Come on, let's see that. Oh, it's going to have to refresh. The site doesn't want to play. XAU GBP. And we also highlighted, by the way, the same setup exists. The same setup exists also on the XAU South African Rand, the XAU Australian dollar, and the XAU, what was the other one? I think those were the 3 best ones that we liked the most. So let's put that draw on and show you. Some of you want to just trade gold. You think platinum, oh, you don't understand it. Well, that was your draw for an upside HVF there. Target was made over here. Overperformance is now in play. With that, you too could have gone to bed and woken up with your money, 50% of your position closed on target, and you're holding for overperformance for the extra surge, a whole bunch more. These are the setups that are occurring. This was quite low time frame, by the way, low time frame stuff, stealing money out of the market, turning it into blue pot, silver ounces, gold ounces, stacking like an absolute thief in the night, because we are protecting ourselves from the true thieves, the money inflators, the criminals, the proliferators, the tertiary extractors, the Pharisees that seek to own it all and to ensure that you own nothing. These are the psychopaths whom we are fighting against. Not only do we help you build wealth, we aim to get you to protect that wealth and secure optionality on an existence that will secure you more freedoms than those that remain in the West and see the depression that is coming for them, that this very gold silver move that we have predicted for the better part of 2.5 decades plays out, and you are in the fast phase now. There has never been a better time to become a community member and to accelerate your rate of stack. There has never been a better time to maximize one of the most powerful ongoing violent trends that tops will be called, wall of worry will be climbed to whole new levels of heights. The wall of worry and the nervous headlines. The Financial Times said gold made 4,000, but the problem is you don't want to go invest now. No, you would hate to do that, especially now that it's almost 4,300 and gone up a further 7.5%. You should have been in fear and realized it's all happened, it's over, don't chase in. Yes, everything you read via the criminals that continue to perpetuate. For my Australian friends, some of them might be getting up early. This was the Aussie that we also presented. You could have traded the exact same pattern against the Aussie. Oh, isn't it ironic? You get quite a meaty pullback just after making targets. And then your overperformance sets you up for a new squeeze, super low vol, there you go, and overperformance zone you come. All the way from there, all the way, 50% closure. Actually, on that wick there, you would have sold the top of the wick. You had a first pullback, then you had a big pullback, and now you are in loving it moments. This is such a strong market. There's almost no reason to 100% close all these mini HVFs that we are getting all the way up, and up. That's right, friends. This is gold. This is trading. This is what it did on the dollar, by the way. I traded the dollar because I have dollar shorts. My apologies, dollar longs in case the dollar had been firm. It did very similar things, just a bit more nervous a journey, you understand. Let's show you the dollar. Here it comes. This was the draw. We need a slightly lower time frame for it to split it correctly. Lots of little wind-ups. There was the funneling, kind of high up. Let's see. There we go. There you go. And, hey, where did you go? Come back, I say. Let's go. One candle. I don't want to go to a lower time frame. And I'm going to show you. You got another wind up. We told the community too about the second wind up, and they would have benefited, those that felt and were around. You would have benefited from the second wind up just as much as you did the first. Let's put it in here. Let's move it to somewhere else so it doesn't sit on top. And this is trading gold on the long side using HVF method, fair friends. Let's go and put it mode 2. There you go. So the first upside HVF has performed to its target round about there. And then we got a wind up of one. Let's make sure both are got the mode of 1. It's not rejoin it. Come on. You got a wind up just after the second impulse here. I'm going to force this in. It's been a kind of a pain. Never mind. Let's do it like that. There you go. So you had a wind up after making it to your second interim. There she goes. You got another squeeze, 3 impulses, and you went again. You almost made target. You made it finally there, and now you're over performance. This is keep on keeping on. Continuation trading with continuation patterns where you have 2 setups in a row and both perform, and they keep boosting the target and giving you more. Once you saw the second setup was winding up, you didn't have to leave this target on. You just put the new target on. You actually extended your target and it got filled over there. So you stayed in the trade longer and you got a second winding up one that got you home. That's it. That's what you could do. That you could be doing this too. You could understand what we do, the best recorded content you've ever seen. It's one of the first things new community members say is, wow, I didn't think someone would do content to that level, the audio, the slides, the quality, the learning, It was fun. It was clear. It had annotations. It showed exactly where you were pointing. I do it to a far higher standard than I do these YouTubes. I do the whole Madonna headset, the whole shooting match. That's one of the first things people say, that we care about what we are teaching you and that you understand it is a community for HBF method to maximize key trends in continuation. And you are now in the world and the realm of a major financial debt-based collapse, which is going to see the most important reserve assets continue to trend long after every short caller has looked a fool. Everyone that says cut and run, close and take your profits has looked a fool. And then the 80% that comes in the final 20% of the move will probably start to materialize. Okay. So that's where we're at on precious metals. That's HBF. That is what's going on. By the way, we've also been in some equities. Oh, have you ever? Hecla Mining Company upside HVF. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now, this is a thing. This is a thing of rare beauty, my friends. This is a thing of rare beauty. You need to understand that we have incredibly high expectations for silver miners. And many of you will look at that and say, I simply cannot buy it. It's done too much, they will cry. By the way, there's our risk reward, which when we were chatting to Don Durrett and we did this update, we told him, because he's a fan of Hecla, we told him it has a 565 risk reward return. You had a results-based squeezy Japanesey right in here on a very low level, right in there on a lower time frame. It was all part of a major macro move that is setting up like this and has even further to go. In fact, I think I've misdrawn this. I'm going to correct for it slightly and move my draw tool a tiny bit more to there. Let's see if it corrects. It's been a bit annoying today. What say you and where are you checking in from in terms of country? Is it a good time for you? There we go. That is the $84 target we gave people when it was $5.60 before results on a tiny primer windup. It has gone from $5.60 to $15. You've more than tripled, and it's still, to get to 84 would need to triple again, maybe 4 times, just to get to its 84 target, for which it will overperform because it's a first structure in a new trend, which has specifically unique criteria on the monthly time frame. That's right. You've just heard an equity call that we're calling. Just to give you, if in case that looks close, let me just take the logarithmic part away. In case you think I'm being cheeky and making easy calls, here on YouTube, in front of you, in case you think it's an easy call, that's the call. That's the call on a non-log time frame. It has never traded in all of its history that far. And we're saying it's not over when it gets there, but it will rest for a fair period. Okay, that is your call. Now, if you were to get in today on Hecla, which is not, and I may not be someone who recommends anything. I am non-regulated, non-advisory. I'm just saying, were you to, you would have 446.5% to make. 5.5 times, friends, 5.5 times your money. Which is not to say, if you happen to understand options and you could buy calls, that you couldn't in fact make 100 times your money with a wee bit of conservative leverage, if you had the skill sets, were you so inclined, etc., which many of you are not, and which I absolutely couldn't recommend, because, you know, it's not what I'm allowed to do up top here. But that is Hecla, and that is where you're at. You haven't missed anything, apart from the first tripling, with a number of triplings still to come. You haven't missed anything. You haven't missed anything. What about AG, First Majestic? First Majestic, we're talking on equities here as well, and how the land is lying. What a beautiful little setup it had, by the way, on a smaller time frame down here, but we'll refer to that later. Let's actually, in fact, I'm going to use that setup in what I call an illegal draw. This is not our compliance, but it will give you a low version of one of our targets, because it is in a breakout and it is going to make surpassing highs. On our lowest version on First Majestic, I have to go back to log scale. I don't know how much time I'll spend trying to scroll this down. You will be looking at $72, over $72 before a meaningful rest, which just so happens to be the 161.8% Fibonacci from that high down to that low, by the way. But hey, that's just coincidence. Who knows? You're sitting at 15 to 72, friends. Another tripler, by the way. And I would say this is our least compliant draw. You would probably be projecting from even higher. But, you know, we explain that in our theory as to what I mean. Forget about it for now. That is First Majestic. Silver miners, melt your face. It's time to talk about silver. Oh my goodness. And I'll be coming back to your comments. I haven't forgotten about you, but I want to just, for all the doomsayers and all those that are thinking that it's over for precious metals, you are in the biggest upside HVF in precious metals entire history. That started in 1980 when I was little snot in primary school. That's right. That's how old the setup is, the high on that setup. Way back. And I need to do something here and just quickly take out a 49 to show you this draw. And I'm going to keep showing you this draw. Why? Because it is the one that tells you we will have a rest of some level, not a high. Not a high. This is the single biggest setup you've ever come across. You will, however, in our opinion, have a rest. You will have a rest at the $330 mark. Now, I actually need a quarterly chart. I'm going to go to the 3 months. This is actually we've just got to get some bandwidth. And we said to you many times, and we'll repeat again now, that this will be face meltingly quick now until you get to the foothills of nearly 100. The interim level number 2, you've already passed interim level 1. All the cup and handle drawers were getting all excited at 50 over here. HVF traders were there already long with stops already there. And in fact, we had a primer that gave you stops there. And we were stacking like monkeys on heat, and have also been trading silver long consistently. And now you are in the ripping phase. We warned that once you've let go of this first interim target there, you can see that 40.92, the speed would be unnervingly quick in the open territories until you do the run of the next interim level, which is in the 90s, which could actually see you do a technical run through 3 digits. It might stop somewhere in the 90s and bulk at the $100 mark, or it could technically run it and then they kill it back down for a couple of dollars for a couple of weeks before going to 333. I'm going to say it's 330, but hey, let's have funky numbers. Why not? 333. You know what that number is. It's half of something as well. Wouldn't it be just classic for it to run through there? Potentially, even next year, that could be done. And I feel there's a distinct possibility you will get to these 90s targets, maybe even still this year with what's left, but possibly by quarter 1 and quarter 2, I would expect you to be there. This is going to be face-rippingly quick. It's going to be denied. It's going to be disbelieved. And I can tell you, the bigger the HVF, the more consistent the outcome, and the faster the move generally is by a percentage of allowed time frame. And this is a ripper, friends. This is a ripper. Take that beauty in. Take that beauty in. Never mind those cup and handle callers that don't know what we know. They don't have the targets that we have. They don't have the interim levels that we have. They didn't know it had already begun before they had even started to think it was relevant. It had happened. It started on the takeout of the RH3 right here. By the way, certain people say that trade at 52. We don't even need to do that imperfection. There are records that have been found of prices that showed 1980, you actually had traded 52 and some change, by the way. So just an important little footnote about records that were destroyed from way back then. Yep. So that is your silver. Ask yourself, whilst in a recession, rolling into a depression, where the oil price, oh my God, we haven't spoken about oil. Where the oil price is doing this in debasing fiat, the costs of oil companies are essentially going like this, while the top line is going like that. My, oh my, you have never had the most unique set of circumstances for face-melting miner action. The miners are going to absolutely destroy. And no one knows what's cash printing their machines. Everybody's going to rush in and buy the circle jerk fraud of NVIDIA, investing in AI with no sign of a return of revenue that probably has to do the Amazon all the way up to $106 and all the way back down to $6, pump and dump for no revenue at all. No clear model, just sunken investment. And they'll turn their noses up at a company whose costs are doing this, are flat and trending down, and an income curve that is doing that in hard cash right now, where you have clear signs of complete lack of availability of their product. And the only thing that fixes that is investment. The only thing that fixes that is huge investment, but it's all going into data server farms so that you can ask AI on your phone, why is my electricity bill gone up so much? Have a look at the server center that's parked up next door that is getting cross-subsidized for the greater good of the surveillance grid society that will imprison you, that you are subsidizing, and that every tax dollar you are giving to your government, they are handing over to the likes of Palantir, Microsoft, defense contracts, Amazon's for server. And in the meantime, there is no investment, but hark! They have awoken from their 40-year nightmare of financialization lies, and a hard truth is being forced on them by China, Russia, the Grand South, and the BRICS nations buying precious metals, and a sudden shortage. And now Trump, that is his name after all, his crooked bent family making billions on pumping and dumping the crypto market. We are coming to Bitcoin versus gold. Don't you goddamn forget that. We will get there. Oh, yes, sirree, we'll get there. Are now buying resource companies. But hold on, why not Bitcoin? Why not Bitcoin? Why not digital gold? Why not NSA token? Why aren't you buying NSA token? You tell us to buy NSA token. Why aren't you buying NSA token? No, we're buying resources. We're buying gold. Tether's buying silver miners. They want real collateral that doesn't lose 55% like a treasury in 5 years. They want something that plugs holes in their balance sheets. My counsel is do what they do, not what they say. And the central bankers that are owned, the central banks that are owned by the legacy families in all the other nations are accumulating the gold, and the Rothschilds holding in America is passing over the precious metals to the Rothschilds holding in China, Russia, and everything else. They control the money and in both centers, and they are moving that money from one hand to the other, one hand to the other. They keep it. They can quite happily withhold a suppression of their Rockefeller-controlled oil tax right down, because it's pumping their gold bags. Completely different commodities. One is an attack and a tax on economic activity, which is in a collapse as tariffs go up. People are fighting. The main street's in a recession. Oil's going down, and they are pumping the bags of gold. They are getting the poor left hand is feeding the rich right one. They are not getting any poorer by watching the oil collapse. They will pump it eventually. It comes much, much later once the fiat debasement has become so much that the recessional effects are no longer able to mask the price compression. Your job is reserve asset in reserve asset times. We talk of epochs. There are epochs for how you must trade and invest. The epoch began on our call in September 2020 with an inverted HVF on the bond market that brought it down to a neckline we had predicted, for which you would get a bounce and a head and shoulders. That transpired. The head and shoulders broke. It traded all the way down. We said that the reserve asset epoch of gold begins here. You short debt, you long gold. You short oil, you long gold. You heard it all here. You heard it all 5 years before the biggest and the best experts even start talking about it. I hear people say, and Luke Groman said, and Paul Tudor Jones said, and none of them said anything before us by years about what's truly happening. Do you want insight? Do you want real insight? Here's where you get it. You're in hyper stagflation, you are in chronic fiat and debt debasement, and you are in a parabola for gold as a result. Gold climbing is the fullness of how much fiat and debt is currently debasing. They debase together. If you do not invest in gold and silver, you are destined to be poor. It's risky. It's risky not to. You are accepting risk by your inertia. You are accepting risk by your inertia, and you are failing to maximize one of the biggest, hardest, longest trends by not being in the HVF method community and making sure that you come out like a gangster. You're so rich. I'm talking Al Pacino. I'm talking more of anything you want on the table to party hard and live life like a king. You are going to come out of this. If you nail this correctly, you will come out big, hard, and strong. But believe you me, the scavengers of government in your home territory that have a power of writing laws that give them power to extract from you and to confiscate, tax, take away, fine, and do everything under the sun will even spoil the best made plans. You need to leave. You need to have optionality. You need to be nomadic of nature. That includes, even if you have children, leave them in school, go build the bridge to other alternatives. That is what is waiting for you. That is everything that goes in that one chart I'm showing you right here, right now, that is accelerating ever faster. HVFs on big time frames mostly make their targets in record time. They rarely don't make their targets, and they rarely take the full time frame forward. They melt the hell up. This is a setup that had its H1. The trend up to the 80 years was my entire life as a child, an infant, into before puberty, just making this trend into 1980. And everything that's happened as I march on deep into the 50s is now seeing this triggering event that we called, and we said today was the day, and no one else knew or noticed it. That's the problem with being early. They all remember that it was Luke Groman that said, or somebody else. Good guy, by the way, no grievance with him. I mentioned it. I was being interviewed. Everyone's saying, and I have to just nod and go, yeah, he did, and everyone else did. We're the Cassandras of the financial world, my friends. We're just a dude with a YouTube clip. We don't have any massive cachet. I don't pose in a suit. I don't need to anymore. I don't want to. That breakout, the YouTube was July 2024. We said the upside, HVF, has triggered on silver. That has very low views. Now you do a video on silver, you will have 10x the views, and it'll be 100x in a year and a half's time. But that's the curse of being early. It's run, and it was a slow start, little bit of chop, they did everything to hold it back down. And now the wall, the dam wall that blocked up the river of appreciation of precious metals downstream is now got so full with pressure The sluice gates are wide open and the water is squirting half a kilometer into the little stream, and the water is running over the wall. The glaciers are melting upstream, that the fraud and proxy derivative complex is over. They're melting so fast that the water's coming down or leaning against that wall so hard. It's running over the top of the walls, and the sluices are at full spurt, and the walls are cracking. The walls are cracking. That's where you are. Most people are in the little village by the river bank downstream. They didn't secure the heights. They never saw what was coming, and you are about to witness it all. That's what you get from that one silver chart. Hear me now. $330 is a resting place. It's not the top. Think about what Hecla does on $330. If you think 85 is going to be a good level, think about what it does on $330. By then, maybe oil will have moved them up a little. Let's talk about oil. You're going to have so many peak oil callers. Everyone wants to chase the falling target. Oh, it's so relatively undervalued. Well, we've done this twice before. And it seems we're going to be doing it again. In 2019, we said short for over a year. Not much interest in our long gold, short oil. Gold was stuck in a 3-year megaphone tapping against the $2,000 mark. Oil had smashed after the COVID right the way back up to 127. And we said, all this will change. You want to be long gold, short oil. In that time, gold has gone from that $2,000 to $4,000, virtually 300. And oil's gone from $87 to barely holding on to 60, now trading $58, $59. That's what's happened on that trade had you listened. And no one was interested. Very little people watched. Very little people saw. We've done the shorts. We put it out all over the place. This is big, guys. You really need to listen here. Hey, shout at this little voice here. He's trying to tell you everything you need to know. But they didn't listen. Not Zero Hedge, not Bloomberg. Nobody wants to know what little old Francie has to say. The guy that called single digits when no one else was bearish oil. That said a major event is coming that's going to absolutely crush the oil price. I would have thought that's an interesting guy. But you're the only ones that think so. I would have thought that's an insightful guy. Talking dispassionately that it's actually me. I would have thought if someone predicted such a ridiculous thing and it happened, people would be banging on his door and say, what is it you do that gave such an insight on such a ridiculous outlier call? What did you do? And you know what? I explained it to everybody who would listen. I said, I look at cross-market valuations, gold versus oil, long before everyone's now suddenly fashionably looking at gold versus oil. Long before any of them. I've been doing 360-degree analysis across asset classes since the cows were out in the field. Third-generation calves are coming home from that field. And now everyone's going, oh, wow, look at this on X, gold versus oil. We've got to call a top here. Not only do they finally arrive so fucking late, they come to the wrong goddamn conclusion. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They arrive at the murder scene after we've already got there, identified the suspect, sorted the whole crime out, and pissed off. And nobody noticed or cared. They show up with all the cameras and the reporters. They sound like Israelis, actually. And they go, oh my God, it was him. And they point to the first star witness that arrived on the scene after we'd already left and arrested the murderer. That's where we go. That's where we are right now. There are no macro technical analysts of any great value. There is the inverted head and shoulder that takes you right back to 2019. Every YouTube we did, we said this is the most important thing we'll ever say. This is going to single digits. And now we've said this is even more important. We're saying it this time. It's a bigger crisis. They need ever bigger crises. We show you the Dow Jones against gold with ever bigger pumps and dumps. They need the biggest dump they've ever done. It needs to be bigger than COVID. You're talking about a depression, not an American depression of the 30s. The entire Western world and its knock-on effects to the rest of the Grand South, China, Russia, complete obliteration of a relatively wealthy segment of the global population, a cost of living disaster, a fiat and debt debasement collapse that is so vast and huge. Everyone I speak to doesn't understand the scale and the size of it all. They think he's kind of dramatic, isn't he? He's a doomer. They thought that when we said single-digit oil, and there was the technical reasons. We didn't just suck it out of our backside and throw a dart to say, let's get some headlines by being controversial and cook up some garbage that we can just say. Real macro technical analysis done here by me and HVF Method and our community and shared with you for free on YouTube said gold will go up and oil is going to go down, and it's going to go down so badly it will go to single digits. You heard it here before you heard it or heard anything. The next person to call it was on Sunday, was Raoul Powell, as after the Saudis refused to do a deal with Russia and the price gapped on Monday morning. 12 hours before the prices gapped, it had already begun to fall by someone responding to the news of a failed agreement just before the capitulation stage, where we've been short 6 months already. Short cruise liners, short oil pipeline companies. That breakout right there at the 28 level, and it's at the exact same neckline 5 years later. We called it 2019, we called it 2024. Let's bring you up to what happened. There's your inverted shoulder, a head and shoulder by the guy that does the 360-degree analysis. There's your blow-off that gave you COVID. There was the pump in oil that we were right up to $129, all the way down. There's gold. Only 14 barrels were bought of oil for 1 ounce of gold. There's another back-to-back structure. I couldn't believe it. I said, I'm going to have to call the same thing again. It's going to look like I'm crying wolf. You can't make a mega call twice in a row in short succession like that. And we did it anyway, because the technicals don't lie. There's very few real hardcore technical analysts that do it, make the calls, give them away for free on YouTube to all of you. You hear it here every time first. News before the news, HVF Method. That's all you need to know. That's all you should know, and that's all the credit we'll ever get, because it's never coming. It's never coming from the media, and we don't care. We're getting richer by the day, because you don't have to be publicly right. You just have to make money. It's okay. It's all good for us. We don't really have such ego problems with it. We'll never be in the mainstream media. They won't like my metaphors. They won't like transgender pink. They're never going to show me, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to be part of their grid, their misinformation, and their propaganda. Let's see how it went. There's the break. There's $28, up, down, up, after a target. Progress decay, stage 5. You've met a key level. You must have a bit of pullback action. Did it happen? Yes, it did. Continuation. You are in a reversal after you've had your pullback, up, and away. 74 barrels of oil, 74.7 barrels of oil. You're virtually on 75 barrels of oil. Those are big fuckers. They stand this tall. They like that big. You have 74 of them for 1 ounce of gold, where previously it was 14. All called here, same neckline at 28. But they won't say it. No one says, hey, this guy did it. Here's the YouTube. You can even see the timestamp. Nobody pays the credit, and we don't care because we made the money. And we keep telling you, this is the trade. It's a recession. Everybody's cocking up and getting the economics right. It is hyper stagflation, you flipping idiots. We try correct it where everyone's telling you garbage. Hunter's saying there's no stagflation. How can there be no stagflation? How can you have a recession now with the oil price going down and oil running like that? And every asset is going up. It's fiat debasement. The asset is not really going up unless it's gold. Go and look he's calling melt up on stocks. It's underperforming stocks. The Dow, the Nasdaq, divided by gold is underperforming. The only measure of account that matters right here, right now, is a gold ounce. There is no dollars in accounting anymore. There is no euros. They are monkeys on greased poles that are slipping. The only benefit they get is they're going to capital gains tax you into poverty on their fiat debasement that they orchestrated, that dragged you into capital gains in the first place. The Ponzi of Ponzi's, the snake eating the tail. They cause the destruction in the fiat that gets them the right to steal your stuff. And people don't understand. Right here, hyper-stagflation, on and on and on and on and on. You're in a stagnating economy. That's why the oil price resets. They're going to pull a crisis bigger, the global depression, than the lockdown. And you're telling me that you want to call a top on a reserve asset, the only capital preserving reserve asset, when the bond markets are at trillions of market cap and still have to deflate to probably near zero? You're going to call a top on that? Are you flipping crazy? You're going to call a top on economic activity when no one's going to have any money to buy any goddamn thing, go on any goddamn holiday, because none of them bought gold and silver ounces like we've been saying since we started this channel in 2009 and read the book, Gold as Reserve Asset Class, and blogged it and YouTubed every single chapter and explained it to people so long ago. Those videos have a few hundred views on them. People need to understand it's over for the Ponzi-onomics. And that is fiat and debt debasement. That is cost of living increases for the Western world. And it's especially worse for the Americans. Yes, my lovely American friends, I don't wish it to you. You are the hegemon and you're going down with a fight. It's not a friendly handover. It gets ugly. You're going to have a shocking living standard if you're not deep in precious metals. And even if you are, your government's going to hunt any pockets of wealth for the massive welfare classes that will be left behind by this crisis. Accept this fact and fight to preserve everything you can and get rural and stick in your little plot in the hills and hope to see out your years, or move. But you've got a choice to make. It gets ugly. And by the way, Europeans, UK, you're not that far behind. You're not that far behind. This is a major reversal. You do not call tops on this, my friends. And then we get to NSA coin. NS flipping A coin, Bitcoin. All the braggarts, the Pomplianos, the Ben Cohen Bitcoin dominance monkeys, the Michael Saylor charlatan, absolute charlatan who somehow lost his top lip somewhere. All these lols, Finkelsteins that want tokenization. They're enthusiastic for Bitcoin and all of this because they really want the tokenization that tells them what you own. That has you be registered. It will become forced law. And you'll say, oh, you'll escape your government into a new world order, communist, globalized system of absolute surveillance and everything. They will get to see all that you own. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus gold. And let's have a wee chat about what's going down there. So we're short Bitcoin. It looks like the crypto markets are absolutely going to slip. The alts run is being put on hold. Bitcoin is skidding to the downside. Here is your macro. Here is your macro. I don't want Tickmill. I never asked for Tickmill. I want Bitstamp. I want Bitstamp. Give me the Bitstamp. Okay, let's have a little look about that. There you go, friends. I want to show you this on a bigger time frame. I want to show you this on a bigger time frame. This is your big pumpermental. Isn't it easy? It's very easy. You know, dark states can pump internet Japanese, your little imaginary Japanese friend narrative and internet money for a while. It doesn't cost a lot when it's 50 million, 100 million, a few billion, and you get retail to follow you because you make it all a big pumpermentals narrative. And so it goes, and so it goes, pumpermentals. And then you start to have a market cap of a few trillion. And you've got a lot of committed money Already, people that wanted Bitcoin are now suddenly all in Bitcoin. And you're sitting at 2.2 trillion market cap. There you go. Let's have a look at it. 2.2 million market cap. But suddenly, the central banks start buying not Bitcoin, but gold. And gold is now moving. And gold, something with a much higher market cap, is now moving. And nobody wants your little imaginary Japanese friend, the altruistic guy that fucked off somewhere, nobody knows where, that with the weird little name with all sorts of acronyms, and you don't think it's got anything to do with your government that literally forced a depression on you post subprime and knew there would be a backlash and channeled all the, hey, let's be liberty guys. That suddenly doesn't matter anymore. It's all Michael Saylor and good old Finkelstein and tokenization. Privacy be damned, being your own central bank, that's not a thing anymore. Roger Ver virtually in jail, being bullied into paying some extortionate tax. McAfee dead, all these people. Assange was in jail, who was apparently an early cyberpunk. All those principles they sold you so long ago that they quietly dumped and threw out the window of the vehicle as the journey went along. And next thing you end up with what? Nothing but a digital PSYOP surveillance token. That's what you've got. That's right there what you've got. And it needs to be fed regular money to hold its market cap value. And people in that space are now seeing that gold and silver are the thing. And what is happening to our friend Bitcoin? This is what's happening to our friend Bitcoin. Pumped and pumped until pumped no more. We do this. We've shown this on multiple channels. On the Crypto Sniper channel, on this channel, that this is a marginally higher high. It is bearish, and we suggested then at the time that that line would break to the downside, that you were trapped in this. You made a marginally higher high and that you would fail. You now have a plausible argument for a possible head and shoulders, not the cleanest. This one's a bit lower overall, and you are rolling over and spilling, and you're quite possibly at a major neckline. But you've got good old Ben Cohen, who's been telling you it's all about Bitcoin dominance. He spent years in the crypto space, and it's all about Bitcoin dominance, and you should only have Bitcoin, and everybody's an idiot. The surveillance tokens they will bring, that will bring about the surveillance system, will not be Bitcoin. They will be the likes of XRP, XLM, and they ain't ready to pump them yet. The gold is the narrative right now. The silver is the narrative right now. And all these maxis, Pompliano, choosing to say from 2020, when gold is at a high, Bitcoin has outperformed gold by choosing the localized high. Let me tell you this, I have virtually no Bitcoin at all, and I am short at a trading level Bitcoin, and it's green. I have lots of gold and silver, and I am trading it only long. And it's serving me extremely damn well. Extremely damn well. You know, I don't like the people that do, you know, P&L shares and things like that. But this is serving us real well. This is what's going down. This is what's being made over here in our targets, trading HVF methods. These are the returns you are not getting by not having the right financial view and not trading long. All green, all day long. Boring green. Oh, I'm bored of the green. It's so boring. Yes, here they all are. Big green chunks. Platinum, gold, short Bitcoin, platinum, long, silver, long, gold, green, all day long. I'm not going to leave it up long enough that you can care. If you don't believe it's valid, I had some guy saying, you can't have that level of margin. It's a fraud. He's made them up. I don't have time to make up fake P&Ls, Fred. We trade. We are trading. I've shown you. You've seen screens. You've seen entries. You've seen stops. We are building wealth in reset times so that we can buy ourselves more freedom, secure our capital, and get free optionality cross jurisdictions that aren't Western to live a great life and be freer from the forthcoming Bolshevik tokenization surveillance Palantir system that is being rapidly uploaded in the supposed capitalist nations of the West. That is what is happening, friends. You have communism and capitalism, and the communist nations are going to solid fiat and sound money, Russia and gold, and China accumulating gold. We want a real foundation as a basis for trade. So you actually have the supposed bad guys of communism synthesizing what used to be a capitalistic feature: honesty, rule of law, price discovery, sound money. And you have a capitalistic nation over here that is projecting socially like communist nations. There's women with Facebook posts that are not being granted bail, and there's beatings of white kids that are being given absolute clear bail by immigrants. You have the inversion, perversion. They are provoking you. They are laughing at you. They are mocking at you. All your politicians are WEF characters, Freemasons. While Khan, of the mayor of London, is telling you you need 15-minute cities because of the climate. He's having parties on liners that have 10,000 tons of carbon puked out for every day, more than you do in a year. They're laughing at you. It's a two-tier system. They think you're slaves and serfs already, and they think they set the rules for you and they don't apply to them. It's all a lie. It's all a fraud. Recognize you're at war. Your Western governments are at financial, freedom, and social war with you. They are doing their utmost to provoke you into losing your shit and arresting you on disorder charges. They want it on a broad scale to bring the martial law and the further restrictions on your movements because you can't be trusted. You got aggressive because too many of your daughters got raped. That's what's going down. That's how they provoke you. This is sound money, and it ain't the Bitcoin. I'm not the buyer of Bitcoin here. Not buying Bitcoin here. That's the sign that goes with this chart. Not buying Bitcoin here. To all those maxis, the Bitcoin dominance. Benny Boy, the nervous guy who blocked the crypto sniper, then unblocked him, didn't know what to do. Pompliano with his stupid ass provocations. It's a sad fact that a few sound people that are quite respected with opinions have suddenly become maximalists, Bitcoin maximalists. They left macro and became Bitcoin maximalists. It's quite sad, actually. And then there's the clear crooks like Saylor. How many chairs are you sitting on? Yep, my friends, you're getting it large from me today. The jet lag's over. I'm coming out fighting. I'm telling you exactly how it is. I'm going to keep telling you exactly how it is. And the world will keep showing that we were one of the first to call every single thing that's going down in this market and trade it and help our community profit from it and utilize those funds to get greater degrees of real freedom in a totalitarian tiptoe towards complete surveillance, Bolshevik society, particularly fast uploading in the Western world, right here, right now. And you go look at anything I've told you today and find those YouTubes. They're still there, including the ones wrong. Go find the tweets. Go find the everything. It all happened here. It all started here. Everything your biggest influencer that ever made a valid post about started here, was called here first. In the macro technical world, there are no other macro technical guys. There's nobody making the ballsy decisions, telling you oil is going down. In an inflationary time, when the Fed is still fighting inflation, that's what they were fighting a year ago. It was all about inflation a year ago. We are calling no, oil goes down. Gold goes up. Fiat rebasement, right here, right now. And it's happening. And you hit the like button if you want to keep being told, because we stand ready to keep telling you about it. But you're watching this movie and you need to look at these charts on the big time frames to realize how your fiat is debasing. Let's just show you the XAU JPY in case you think it's just the dollar. In case you think it's just the dollar. Oh my goodness, what a chart. What a chart, what a chart, what a chart. That's your weekly chart. That's your monthly chart. By the way, putting the Japanese as the weakest, we still have on here the draw we called and shared in the community that says the gold bull is definitely coming. I have a macro upside HVF gold JPY. How many people are talking about gold ounces against the yen? Ever? Never mind, way back here in 2018, here comes the break. There's your triggering event in June 2019, this draw we drew. And we still have the overperformance trumpet here, and it still hasn't made the top side of the broadening structure from this key break. There it is, friends. There it is. Right there. Squeezy, squeezy, Japanesey. Whose phrase is it? You asked me. You asked me, whose phrase is that? Who called it? Right here, gold Japanese yen. By the way, that was around 130,000 yen on the axis. 130,000 yen today, and that was 2019 turning 2020. Today, 130,000 is now 640. You tell me Fiat isn't turning to toilet paper in front of your very eyes. Go up to the big time frames. Have a look in front of your goddamn eyes. Fiat is turning to toilet paper right here. You wonder why the price of rice doubled in a year? There's your answer in a chart. 640 divided by 130. How much is that up? That triggered, let's get the date, 19. 6 years ago. 6 years ago, 130,000. Let's do this. Today, 646,000. 646 divide 130. That's how many yen you bought your ounces for. 5 times, friends. In 6 years, you've gone 5 times up for holding gold and not holding the Japanese yen. The wholesale funding factory for Casino America, it has to keep its yen lower than the dollar, otherwise you have a carry trade unwind. Who explained that to you simply? The money is borrowed there. They own Japan from the World War II. They own Japan, financially and fiscally. Gold yen is a massive chart, and it is running big. It is running big, friends. You are in a major crisis, and they are going to upload something where they could steal our money in our banks, steal your money in your trading accounts, steal your shares, certificates, do everything. That's why the biggest part of your wealth needs to be held in your hand, physical metals. As uber bullish as I am miners, even with a certificate, the crooks, the liars, and the frauds will still find a way to cheat you. Your biggest holdings should be precious metals, according to me, for your safety. Make them come and fetch it. Make them send an army because you're armed to the teeth. Get all your neighbors together. Have a small renegade. Have a mercenary group. Make them send helicopters and fighter planes to take your metals. It ain't going to happen. You'll be the last. You'll live the longest. You'll be left in peace for the longest. Leave the country. Fund a beautiful existence with immense freedom. Let's have a look at some of your questions. Oh, yes, I could have tried screen sharing. It's very effective when you want to show a chart. XAU GBP. There it is, my friends. There it is. There's your 130 right there. There's your triggering event right there on our funnel. And there's where you are today, 646. The mathematics was 646 divided by 130, and it comes a smidge under 5. A smidge under 5. 5 times up in 6 years. Would you buy an asset that in 6 years' time is 5 times up? Well, I'm here to tell you, you already probably have, and it's going to do more than that, because we're not in the final 20% yet. I don't think we're even close. And that's when you're going to get the bulk of your gains. The real blow-off. It's getting kind of quick against the yen, but the real blow-off comes. And boy, are they going to throw some tricks at us coming soon. I have no idea what they'll be this time. I didn't have that much idea till last time, but once I heard the story, the magic, the falling over men in China, you know, that's how you knew the whole thing was synchronized. because even those other nations are captivated by the same usury extracting Pharisees that see themselves as supreme and elite, that have blackmail running policies. They run the world on blackmail. Yeah, that's how you knew. I can't tell you what the theme will be on the next one. They've got a party box. It's like a lucky packet that they can open. You don't know what piece of plastic shit toy you're going to pull out of that. But they've got a whole swathe to throw down. But believe you me, it bites harder. It bites harder. The knock-on effects of it will surpass CV19. Many people think you can't beat locking down, closing everybody else's businesses, except Amazon.com. You can, they will, and it's going to happen. And this is why, and this is what we're about today. The gold, silver, platinum run. Get your physical. Get your physical. We have links below. Support our people. If you want to value us, pay what I pay. No add-ons. ITM trading, pure gold. Bullionvault, for those of you planning moving. We have Wise accounts. Associate a Wise account. Keep multi-currency. Swiss franc, the least bad. So you need some money for the next week or so. You can have it in francs potentially. Wise account backed into Bullionvault. While you're moving, you don't want to keep stacking physical that can't swap borders. In our community, we've helped people even to sell their bullion in one country to other community members. So, and then they've put the money into Bullionvault, they've moved somewhere else, and they've downloaded and bought physical in the multitude of new places where they can shape shift. You have to become like the internationalist Pharisees that are moving their wealth from America to China, from west to east. You have to become like them to beat them, to survive in their system. So we have 1,446. That's a great number. Thank you for joining us today. Drop your questions in here. How do you engage with us? You go to themarketsniper.com, book a call, have a chat with one of our onboarding people, see how you could be maximizing with some of these trading opportunities that I've shown just a small bit about, that you can turn and withdraw cash continually out of your trading account while it's growing and stack ever more. Because this is a wealth building opportunity that's unique. You're giving a shit or bust situation. You're going to fly like a lord or you're going to be bust. We spoke of a polarization for mankind in 2017 on Greenwich Hill, where the astronomy station was that determined the Greenwich Mean Time, that saw that hill be 0 hour for all international clocks. We stood on that very hill, just like we stood on Jekyll Island and YouTubed from there and researched the whole basis of all money and cared enough to fly, go, see, understand. Griffin is a legend, by the way, Ed Griffin. Ron Paul is a legend. Do you know what they don't do? They don't advocate for Bitcoin. They don't advocate for NVIDIA. They advocate for gold, gold, gold. Deceased Jim Sinclair, rest in peace. Gatter founder and some of his friends and partners like Bill Halter that we have in the channel, gold, gold, gold. Truth, honesty, integrity, alignment. Do what you say, be who you are. Those kind of people advocate for gold. Charlatans, snakes, NSA operatives, paid handlers, they advocate for NSA token. Bitcoin dominance. It's better than gold. It's digital. Yeah. You know where it stands. You know where it stands. I will buy it if I think it's going up. I will never trust it. I will trade it like a whore. Same for all the other cryptos, by the way. But the difference is Bitcoin promised to be your freedom from governance, your liberty at one point, and then it forked. So now you know the truth. They are liars. They're all liars. You're surrounded by a deception grid of great amplitude, funding 7 grand influencers to mock Palestinians and pro-Israeli content on X, all popping up in your feeds all of a sudden. Netanyahu lecturing them in America with Israeli flags all over the place. You're captured by the Pharisees, the same people that Jesus of Nazareth whipped and flogged. That's why they said, kill him, not the murderer. His ideas, his principles were far too dangerous for their bent cartel of deception. And we live and exist in one huge Ponzi-built cartel of deception. Borrow, 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 debt expansion. It's over, it's ending. Gravity is taking hold. You can't defy it forever, and that is what's happening. Anyway, we will share the link to themarketsniper.com where you can book a call. We want to help you maximize. This is about as impassioned a plea as I can make. We need a savior. It's not even like a choice. You have to maximize this. This is it. This is your big lottery ticket that fixes all problems, in a sense. But don't expect them to make this easy for you. You're riding the mechanical bull. Your job is to stay on and survive. They're going to do everything they can to shake you out. This is the trend that will keep on giving, that everyone's going to call tops on. You haven't seen the extent and the scale of this. Nobody I speak to fully understands the scale of a debt-based collapse. Every dollar that is borrowed into existence needs to virtually go to zero. Go look at the Weimar chart. Gold in Weimar, Deutschmark. Go see how many zeros in Weimar dollars, Weimar marks, let me rather say. For that to go to zero, this goes to almost infinity, because as that tends to being near worthless, where it's not even worth the paper it's written on, wheelbarrow loads, the gold sellers won't even take it as currency anymore. They won't even take it as currency. Properties will be bought with low gold ounces. Mario shared a fun tweet as a 9/11 fan. He actually shared how many gold ounces to buy a 9/11. For those of you, I expect a few men in the crowd, a few ladies who might like a nice sporty car. How many gold ounces to buy a 9/11? You're going to see this on everything. Property, you name it. It's all going to be coming. How many gold ounces to buy a 9/11? I'm going to have to see how far back it is. By the way, China is stacking like a loon in terms of 15 kg bars. There you go, 15 kg bars racked and stacked. Let's see how many gold ounces to buy a 9/11. There we go. The Porsche 911 price in gold ounces. Who wants a Porsche 911? Way! I'll take the Turbo S with 50th anniversary and heritage pack inside with the pink rose gold 911 Turbo S before they put the battery in it and screwed it up, made it heavier, just because we got to do like Tesla. Your gold ounces has come down from 360 ounces to get that Porsche 911 to around about 37, 38 at the moment, it looks like. And I can tell you, for every day you wait, it gets cheaper. For every day you wait, it gets cheaper. The marshmallow test is in play here, my friends. You are seeing the single biggest microcosm example of the marshmallow test for all kids of humanity. The ones that succeed are the ones that say, no, I will not eat the one marshmallow today for the two tomorrow. And when the two tomorrow is on offer, I will not eat the two tomorrow for the four the next day. And in fact, I won't eat it all month. I'll postpone and I'll have marshmallows the rest of my life in a few weeks' time. You will have more 911s than you care to own. You'll have one for each day in a different color. You'll have a turbo, a cabriolet, a Targa, and everything. It's all coming to you. You just have to be patient, non-consume, and keep stacking. Because real money is doing what real money does. Hold its value while everything else goes into a convexity curve to the downside. Debasement. Proliferation, debasement. The borrowing that is needed to meet the interest demands. They are borrowing to pay interest. They've pushed everything that was on the long end that they've lost control over to a large degree, right down more and more to the short end, and now it's rotating ever quicker. They're running out of time. The hamster's on the wheel and the wheel's burning with the friction. He's running so fast in that tiny little cog of short time frame debt. They continue to issue. 30 days ago, they did 550 billion in a single 30-day period. But Tether buying treasuries is going to save it. It's 5D chess. Okay. Now, there's a big fat bullshit lie where someone never ran the numbers. Don't look at that little fake story too close. Alrighty, gentlemen, it's been fun. I'll be speaking to the Honorable Chris McIntosh later today, and we'll be releasing that. A man, sound reason. He speaks slowly, considerately. If you wanted someone to manage your money, he's the kind of guy you should be choosing. I'll be talking to him later, and we'll be recording that. And it's going to be fun chat because I know something about him. He doesn't buy the BS. He understands the scale of the Ponzi, and it's nice to be around like-minded friends. Watch out for that YouTube. Coming probably in a couple of days' time after the editors have done what they do. And thank you for popping on to watch. We really appreciate having you on. It's been great being on the US side of the world. Look at the numbers. We do almost 1,500 people. Thank you for your support. We're on 94,000. I started this channel in 2009. I've watched everybody and his dog go past me in 100,000 in channels that are a year old. But eventually, the man who called everything before everybody else, that everybody forgot that he actually did because he did it too soon, will get through 100,000 thanks to you. Thanks to you sharing this video with your pal, hitting the like button, making the algo love us, and we want to say a massive thank you to you. And don't forget to book a call, themarketsniper.com. You can chat to like-minded. You can avoid being gaslit by friends and family members who think you're a loon, who don't see what you see. Only a certain percentage of the world gets blessed with vision, and it's a blessing and a curse, because suddenly you are now part of an elite small class of people that do not get gaslit, do not get fooled, do not get deceived easily. You have a certain kind of intelligence that others do not have. You owe it to yourself to have an online community of friends that are similar to you so that you can relax and speak easily. You owe it to yourself to meet some of them offline. Some are coming to stay in my own home in Cape Town. Some are coming to visit me right here in Panama. Good people, smart people, aware people that don't buy the BS. And more are awakening. You owe it to yourself to come and join and start winning. Start working towards maximizing your wealth, protecting that wealth, and securing yourself options across this world that will give you arbitrage against excessive governmental overreach. That is the three biggest things that are going to determine the quality of your remaining years on this planet. Because if you're rich beyond all means, you'll get people doing all the menial shit for you. If you can preserve that wealth, it will stay that way until you die, and you'll be passing it on to your children as one of the biggest bequests you can, a quality of life. And if you can have optionality across the world and the planet, you can play statist organizations off against each other and go to the ones that treat you best. That is what I want for you. If you can see that everything I say is typically based in alignment and real sincerity, you will recognize that fact. If you don't, then I'm probably not your guy in the first place. Hit the link, themarketsniper.com, book a call. We look forward to having you. We are stuffed full of Americans, Canadians, Australians, Europeans, UK peeps, all from the Western world, all making plans, all securing major upgrades in their life. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Just start the process. You'll be better off than those around you who never did. Sometimes just taking action is the greatest tonic against the depression about knowing what's coming. We keep you in good sound mind because it's a mental psyop. They want you in fear. They sell fear. I defy them in public every time on their own platforms. I call them what they are in my own words, and I spit on them on their own platforms. And I'll continue to be defiant because I refuse to cower in a corner in fear to the Pharisee, usury, extractor classes and their vile, vile financial system. They bailed their bankers out, they socialized their losses, privatized their gains. And as I say regularly, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, with their sudden stay ahead of the narrative, gold's going to go up, here's a big number. All of a sudden, those are the guys in our communal house that crapped and defecated and urinated on the porch where we all had to sit on the sly. And now they come out and say, be careful out there, guys, there's some bad smell. Like suddenly, staying ahead of the narrative. They did it. They're part of it. They caused it. They leveraged everything. They aimed to hold all the assets and level everybody else into serfdom. And I call them out too. They are the enemy. They are the enemy. And now they try to maintain their integrity, get in front of the great gold argument. When we were saying it was coming, they were laughing down their sleeves. Now they're forced to. Events have caught up with them because nobody believed mainstream media after CV19 anymore. This channel has 2 strikes still for medical misinformation, for stopping people from getting injured. And now, why don't they remove them? Now that all the news has come out, the truth. And in the same way, they lost their credibility, the mainstream media. They cannot ignore what's going on in precious metals. And now they want to get up front of it with, I'll say 10,000. I'll say that, or Morgan Stanley. Oh, you can have 20% in gold. Oh, we've gone suddenly this year from 0 to 20%. Listen, I ain't insuring my house for 20% on a sure thing. It's already burning. I know it's getting torched. I'm over-insuring it. I'm coming out of this with 3 houses, all 5 times bigger, with 10 garages, because I've got 911s to buy with my gold ounces, Ferraris to buy, and a bunch of great living to do on the basis of these guys collapsing something I can see is collapsing. And all the suppression they did through my young years that made it hard for me to live and work, the property businesses they bankrupted with their pump and dump schemes, I'm getting my back pay for everything they did to me. I'm getting what's owed. I'm going to feast like a pig because I can see what they're doing. I'm positioning to win, and I want you too. Because you were never part of their insider classes, and they've always been inflicting a massive burden and cost. You've been carrying parasites. You've been made to carry parasites, nurses, sisters, policemen, all of them, made to carry a parasitic class. Get your back pay. You start by hitting themarketsniper.com. We're in the business of getting you your back pay for all the shit you ate and all the pigs and parasites you had to carry on your back through your best productive young years. You are owed back pay, and I'm here to get it for you. Go do what you must do. Thank you for watching. Catch you later.